Commissioner Jacobson,
Here.
Commissioner Johnson,
Here.
Commissioner Matthias, Commissioner McHale.
Here. All in, pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Before we, I am going to approve the agenda first. All right, I'm gonna make a motion to approve the agenda. Do I have a second?
I'll make a second.
Great, all in favor? What, any discussion? Discussion? On the agenda? No, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, perfect. Before we get to matters from the public, we're going to, or can you explain what we're going to do?
Yes, we've got some guests with us that are in the public tonight. We have some staff members that we would like to recognize their quick thinking, their ability to adhere to CPR rules and life-saving rules, and trainings that they've been to, were able to help save an individual's life at the Racket Club that was having a medical emergency. So while I was not there, I would like Rob, if you could just kind of briefly tell the board what has happened, and then let's recognize Mary and Chris.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a couple of heroes here in our midst tonight, two local heroes. We have Chris Toshik and Mary Steven. They were working on a Friday night at the club. They work at the front desk, and it became apparent that somebody on one of the tennis courts was having an emergency. So Mary handled the phone. She called the emergency services, talked to everybody through that, and Chris went out onto the court and helped with CPR until the paramedics got there and took over. It was an incredible feat. Everybody that was there that night did not hesitate to recognize what they did. There was all sorts of really positive feedback and congratulations. And happy to report that the gentleman who had the heart attack is in recovery. He's back with his family and he's doing great. He looks forward to playing tennis again in a few weeks.
Nice.
Mary, Chris, and Rob, if you guys could come forward, please. We have, and watch as we got our. Thank you very much. Chris, thank you very much. And if we could get a photo with, do we do the whole board with that one? Or we just need staff?
Or just get Sarah.
Or just get Sarah in there. There we go.
Thank you, Sarah.
Jenny, as marketing, wherever you think would be best to
I
take a
think
photo.
this, well, yeah, it's good here and. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very well done.
Thank you.
The staff go through regular CPR, AED trainings. It's one of those trainings that we really hope they have to go, or they go through and never have to use. But it is very nice to see when an emergency comes up, that staff members like these guys rise to the occasion. So thank you guys very much. You are welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting should you so choose. You're also free to go. So thank you very much. Commissioners.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You never know what it's gonna be like in real life, and then it happens, and wow. Yeah.
It's
Tremendous.
not only the CPR though, it's how it's managed internally, it's the communication with 911, because you have to stay on the phone, it's a long process. And then how the staff responds, so it's not just one person, it's the whole process. So
Yeah.
that's what went really well.
A lot of moving parts that had to work in unison.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Okay, so I don't see anybody here who's listed as wanting to speak tonight from the public. Is that the case? Oh, okay. All right. You know, think there's any unfinished business, correct?
Correct?
So we're going to move on to the consent agenda. All right,
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
thanks. Do we have a second on that?
But you have to read it.
No,
Yeah. Yes, you can too.
Okay, we're not gonna go through that. All right, so we have a motion on the table to approve the voucher expenses for the month ending May 31st, 2024 in the amount of $5,131,614.50. Also, the interim voucher expenses for the month ending June 30th, 2024 in the amount of $255,802.89. To accept the treasurer's report for the month ending May 31st, 2024 in the amount of $19,611,208.28. To approve the regular meeting minutes from December 12th, 2024, and to approve the Family Health Partnership request, non-for-profit. Do we have a second on that?
Second,
Discussion? Okay, roll call?
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Cagle,
yes.
Commissioner Heisler,
Yes.
Commissioner Jacobson,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner McHale.
Yes. Okay, perfect. Moving on to new business action items. We have. All right, we've got, I'm gonna make a motion to approve ordinance 24-25-13 tax abatement series 2022B. Let's see, ordinance 24.25.14. Tax abatement series 2024A and ordinance 24-25-15 tax abatement series 2024B. Ordinances abating taxes for the Crystal Lake Park District, Henry County, Illinois for the 2024 levy year for alternate revenue source funds. Do I have a second?
I'll make a second.
Any discussion on that? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Cagle,
Yes.
Commissioner Heisler,
Yes.
Commissioner Jacobson,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
and Commissioner McHale.
Yes. All right, moving on to item B, I'm gonna make a motion to approve the three-leaf partner agreement to adopt resolution 24.25.06, a resolution accepting the three-leaf development park donation agreement as presented.
I'm sorry, Sarah, did you approve every abatement ordinance or just one? That motion was.
I read
All
the
three.
whole
There were four.
thing.
There were three.
One, two, okay. You mentioned all three.
Mhm.
Thank you.
All right, do I have a second on the three-leaf partner agreement?
Second,
Yeah,
Discussion?
so, we're doing this construction after all the units are built and the certificate of occupancy, then the developer's gonna build this park out for us. Okay.
So there's some indication that they're gonna do it sooner,
I don't think they would want to.
right, because that's. Shows as an entity to their, I can't see, to their residents, so,
Right.
so I think they're gonna do it, sooner, I can't get on the computer this first. So I don't have it up in front of me, but they are going to do it.
So they're gonna do it after this.
Yeah,
It's like the occupancy issues for the
For
20
the-
units
first,
or the 11 buildings.
yeah, they're gonna do it before then.
Well, I think they will, they don't
'Cause I-
have to.
No, because they're. It's a pretty big outlay as part of, gonna site grade it initially.
Well, as you said, they don't have the plans for it either, exhibit
Oh.
D is missing, so
So the plans are gonna be.
developed later.
Usually agreed between the park district and they have to spend 400,000.
I was saying that, but it was not to exceed 400, so that's where I'm like, we're kind of agreeing to something that's an agreement to agree, because. You know,
Well, we got kind of tagged on, by the city of Crystal Lake, who kind of pushed it through because they went to approve the development back in October, November. So they're exceeding what the ordinance standards are for the park donation based on the acreage, the $100,000 donation, and then the park so up to 4.
But what this agreement has, is it's up to 400 in cost to build,
Yes,
plus the 100. But we don't know what the plans are gonna be, so we're not sure what they're gonna build, when it says no more than 400, so to me, I'm a little uncomfortable with that, because now we're just agreeing to agree at some point. I suppose we could just not agree.
When would we have plans?
I think we're not gonna have plans until after they're done building the residence. Not guaranteed to have plans until they got a strict certificate of occupancy for the buildings.
Amy, do you have any insight into
I
it?
do not, Jason's been handling it.
Do you have insights?
I can't.
Or Scotty's.
Well, guys, can we let Amy speak for a second?
So I would do it as a minimum amount. Minimum amount, not to exceed 400, but that would be the minimum amount of the job project. And not to limit us to that amount, because we don't know what the design is, we know kind of what we want. We want a playground, we want a shelter, we want a nice walking path.
We want parking.
Yeah, and we want some nice things, and we don't wanna say that, what happens if it ends up coming $450,000?
Well, I think if it gets to 450, I think it's fair for us to say that 50 is ours. Right?
But do you get her point though?
I get the point about I worry more about the lower number, right? The higher number, they're giving us 100, they're gonna give us up to 400 to build it out. I think if we go above 400, that's on us, because we could decide to build the Taj Mahal, and that's not fair, right? So it seems to me that I would like it to the extent that it's under 400, they give us the difference, right? That way we're not trying to, and if it's over 400, we pay the difference.
Okay,
That would work.
So the cost is for the park, it's not infrastructure improvements, it's the park site. So
Well, let me see, Scott, I was just looking at that.
So
There's
it-
401.
the developer is gonna manage construction and dedicate the park improvements. In accordance with the plans as mutually agreed upon by the district and the developer. The developer has agreed to participate in the community input process with the district. Better define and develop the plans. The parties will collaborate on the overall design prior to the developer engaging in the bid. The impact information used toward park improvements, which include playground and equipment plans. The park about the in-kind donation does not include costs related to infrastructure and site work. So they're not. So the park improvement is gonna be the playground.
Well, let's look at section 2. So it says an in-kind donation of playground equipment and built-out park plans, value not to exceed $400,000. Those are the park improvements. That doesn't say land to me, but if it's meant to be land, then it should say land and improvements.
No, the land. Wait. Tell me.
Section 2, on the
Okay.
donation,
Alright.
about halfway, B.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a built-out park. In-kind donation of playground equipment and a built-out park plans, and I mean, not to exceed 400. That's because there was some, it's not just gonna be park plans. Or playground equipment, because somebody said that there should be a shelter or some type.
Oh, no, but whatever, I'm talking about the improvements, not the land. It's the land is included as part of it.
It is now.
Okay, so it's 400 to build whatever we're gonna build.
Correct.
Okay, so that's what I'm getting at.
The land donation is separate from that.
Okay, good. So if we have to agree on something, I mean, they're gonna want it to come in at less than, right?
Right, and there's no minimum, so
There's
they
no
could
minimum,
build it
right.
to 125,000.
Right, yeah.
well, we have to agree.
But you have to agree.
Yeah, right. So I think there should be some mechanism here for, so that there's no gamesmanship going on, is, if it's under 400, then we get the difference. Yeah.
We get the difference in cash, as cash.
Yeah.
And we see the,
And if it goes over, we pay.
Right,
I think that's fair.
That's fair.
So that if the park, all the amenities that they put in, they contract with their consultant, but they have to be fair and be forthright in sharing all that.
Otherwise, and I don't think we have to have a community input for this, maybe we do, I don't think we do, otherwise, let's have some plans that are concrete, so we know where to get it.
Mhm.
Right? So either have exhibit C or have a kind of a minimum workout on the 400, what we're gonna get, right?
That sounds really good to me.
Scott, is that clear?
Sure. So the problem is they're not building it right now because they have to go through and get all of their, the cost is gonna change. That's why it was a down the road deal, because they're not even gonna start moving dirt for quite some time.
We're fine with that, if it's more than 400, we'll pay for it.
Well, except for
Right.
inflation, costs are
Right.
crazy
I
on.
understand that,
Yeah.
but they're only gonna give us 400, and I think that's fair, right? We've agreed on 400 plus the other, to
Well,
build it, plus another 100, and that's the deal. And we're not trying to go beyond that, but we don't want it to be significantly less than that.
Mhm.
And if we do want more than that, because cost, whatever, that's our risk, right?
But if they're selling their units for X today, but X times 2 tomorrow. I don't know,
Yeah, I don't think we can.
we can't.
I think that's
These
gilding
are-
the lily, right?
Is there a time frame?
It's after they, get their certificate of occupancy.
Could we
So,
also, could
so
we
can you
also
put
do
an
that?
adjustment for an inflation if,
Well, let's see if we can get it built before this,
Occupancy, yeah.
with, and I think they're gonna want that anyway, but we don't wanna wait until they're done and ready to pack up. Hey, guys, come back here and build this for us, right?
The last minute, you don't wanna,
Yeah.
slap something
It
together.
wasn't there two, wasn't it an earlier?
All of which shall be completed not later than the earlier 1 year after the speed. Yeah, it's 1 year after the
The buildings are occupied.
all COs have been issued. For November 1st, 2027.
That doesn't, so that just seems, I don't think they're gonna want that. They're gonna wanna build this, have it be nice and have it be an attraction for the buyers, right?
put it first?
Yeah, I would
so
put
we-
it- I would say no later
I
than.
think it would make sense to have it done before that, so.
Well, the other,
it's,
the other thing is then no one's using it and there's no access and it's unsafe to get to, right, because they're gonna be under construction. So I think that's what they
Well,
were.
there's access from the north, from the neighborhood.
Yeah, it's.
Well, you're saying they don't want the kids there playing while they're
Yeah.
constructing.
We're not gonna dictate that.
But they're gonna have construction fence around their construction site, and if they built this first, they would just not put construction fence around the whole park, they only, they're not building on this except for the park. Further south, they're building it, they're not gonna put their construction fence around the whole park and their site that they're constructing, unless they're using it for staging and dumping a lot of stuff on it.
Right.
Well, I don't care if wants.
Well, let's ask them. Maybe they do have an explanation for why they don't want it to. They want to do it after the SIVO, right? But if not, let's see if we can get it done before that. But in any event, let's make sure that they're gonna spend 400 on it. And if they spend less, we're gonna get the difference. If what we want costs more, then we're gonna pay them.
Every year playground equipment goes up anywhere from 5 to 15%.
Yeah, so,
Standard
yeah,
cost.
you're saying you'd like some inflation adjustment. I think we're I think we might look like we're gilding the lily.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
good with that. I'm good with that.
But it sounds like 2 years. Or, occupancy or 2027.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, well. See you next month.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, so
Do you have all that, Scott? Do you need me to? Okay.
all right, so my motion was on the table to approve this. I'm going to withdraw that motion.
Yes.
Until it's been amended. All right, next up, we've got, I'm gonna make a motion, to approve ordinance 24.25.12. An ordinance revising employee policy 7.01, use of park district facilities and recreation programs as presented. Do I have a second?
Make a second.
Let's discuss that.
Yes, there is, I apologize, I left my print copy at home, so I don't have it with me under new book. If we went to the very last page of the policy, there's something that was added in, having to do with part-time staff. And I'm delighted that part-time staff will be covered by this policy. But it just says 50% discount on programs. But so it says all staff, including seasonal and part-time staff, will also be eligible for the funding. But if you were a part-time or a seasonal staff and you were reading the policy, in the beginning, all it talks about is full-time, right? So why not have parallel structure and create a new section on the front page? After where
One for
it says
part-time, one for
full-time
full.
staff, it says seasonal and part-time staff. You know, so it's, so people can better understand.
Distinguishes the difference.
Yeah, and see that they're being recognized and it's not a tag on the last bit. And I would like us to approve the policy tonight, knowing that staff will make that change, because it's basically just relaying it out.
So approve the substance and have them work on the form.
Correct.
The formatting could definitely, it helps not only all the staff understand, it helps the front counter understand when,
Yeah.
okay, so what does Kathy get again? What does Mike get? So, yeah, after, in talking with Jason, he's like, he's like, his hope was to say, let's get the bones of this done. But we need to make it much easier
Yeah, that makes
for
sense.
staff to read.
That would be great.
Easy for everyone.
Okay, so that's clear,
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So moved.
perfect. What do we do? Roll call?
Roll call.
Is there a second?
Oh,
You moved. You moved.
I moved.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
Mike
Oh,
seconded,
well, we amended it to.
well,
But
is
we
that
can,
really?
we can do a roll call within an amended fashion.
What would you like us, Scott, what would you like us to do?
I thought you were approving this and then
Yeah.
getting staff direction to come back next time, so you were making any changes to was.
No, I thought.
Yeah, you said you're fine with it being,
Effective now?
yes, effective now with the understanding that staff was gonna
Fix it.
make that
it's
change,
approve the
so
policy, but change the format
Right.
so it's easier.
to me, I don't think we need to.
We didn't really
amend
change
any
anything,
of
it's just
it.
the way it's gonna be read to the people that are
Listener.
taking advantage
So-
of the policy.
And can you bring a copy of the revised form to us just so we see it? At a
Absolutely.
later meeting.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, roll call?
Commissioner Jacobson,
Yes,
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Cagle,
Yes,
Commissioner Heisler,
Yes.
Commissioner McDowell.
Okay. Quarterly goals update. So there's a lot of stuff in this. This is really,
The
It's really
one
ambitious.
area, Jason can talk, obviously more in depth about this, but in our brief conversation this morning, the one area he really wanted to highlight was towards the back, when we look at some of the projects and purchases. It's the very last 3 pages. From his vantage point as the director, he was very happy just to see some of these are projects that are not the giant capital improvement projects that are $500,000, but it's the ongoing upkeep and maintenance of facilities that we're doing small projects that are 5,000 here, 6,000 here. And he was just happy to see that we're, not quite 3/4 of the way through the year and the amount of things that have already been completed or done. And also, there's a couple of things that we put in here where, hey, we're planning on doing this, we have an estimate, and then by the time we put it in the budget, we go to put pen to paper, the costs go way up. And then the staff will kind of reassess and go, all right, are we doing this or are we not? So he was just happy to see that there's a lot of stuff that is completed and not a lot of things, when he asks a lot of the staff of, okay, where are we with this? There's not an answer of, we have no idea. It's in progress, we're working on it. So that's what he wanted me to convey tonight. If there's any other questions or thoughts, staff, we can do our best to answer, or we can always relay them to Jason for his input as well.
I have just 2 small comments. One, under natural area improvements, I brought it up to Jason when we were talking one day. About putting a prairie in front of the racket club. There's that large lawn area, and I think a prairie would be a fantastic replacement for natural lawn. I don't know if that actually moved forward in discussion, but I would like to ask staff to take a look at that.
Okay,
And then the other one under signage, I think Stearns Woods is due for a new sign. It doesn't match any of our signage at all.
I know, and Jenny, Jenny, I don't want to steal your Jack Center, but I know there's a large number of signs that are set and ready to go. It's just staff having the weather conditions and the time to put them up. I don't
Yeah.
remember if Stearns is one of them.
Well,
I know
yeah, there's a,
big backlog of stuff.
there's been inventories of every park, and even just more even recent tours of maybe double checking to see, make sure nothing was missed and, future signs and in production. There are a ton in storage right now waiting to be framed so that they are ready to go when they can go in the ground. My
But
understanding.
to your point, yeah, we can find out if Stearns Woods is. one.
Yeah, I believe, yeah, there's
I don't
multiple.
need the answer, I just think it doesn't fit, and it's a major part, you know. And then one other thing, we had indoor walking tracks is one of the major improvements. I do work at the Northwestern Huntley Fitness Club, and the Huntley Park District has once a month, it does something in coordination with the health club, and they have been bringing their seniors in to walk at the health club. And so I had asked Jason, why can't we open, oh gosh, I'm gonna blank on the park to the west of Lippold on the same side?
Grand Oaks.
Why can't we open Grand Oaks to walking?
We did have it open to walking at one point. We used to have a senior walking club. That's been kind of hit or miss.
Right, it's
over
in
the
the,
years.
it's in the guide right now. There is I think it's every Tuesday, if I can recall. It's listed in the senior section, and I think in fitness, there's a call, it's going on now, through to May when this guide's.
But it's something
over.
we can definitely, if you're seeing, hey, we're getting really good results, we can absolutely look
Yeah,
to
you can also-
highlight that more and make sure we give a lot of literature to our seniors out at Grand Oaks when they just stop into, or drop in for cards and whatnot. So we can actually help highlight that. So,
We could also talk to the Sage YMCA and see if we could bring a group of seniors once a month or once every other week. When the group comes to the Northwestern Fitness Club, they all have on Huntley Senior Club t-shirts, so you can see who they are, and they're all just perky and bright wearing their t-shirts coming in. And
do
if
they come in a Huntley Park District are they?
I don't know, they
transportation?
come in as a herd, so I would imagine they're coming on a bus, but I
Okay.
don't know.
Yeah, we can follow up on that.
I heard. Any, I'm about to. Anybody
A
else
thundering herd.
have questions or comments about the quarterly goals update? Okay. All right, the Stearns Fen hydrology restoration project.
Eric, at this point, I'll turn that over to you.
Thank you. Sure. Yeah, so a few months ago, maybe 4 months ago, I brought up to the board that the Illinois Nature Preserve is looking to kind of work with us. They're gonna finance completely, but they want our input and, our blessing, if you will, to continue restoration phase 3 with that project out of Stearns. We've done phase 1, phase 2 together. They're gonna take on phase 3. And essentially, as it says, it's creating more hydrology in this area that are working, that's on the map that you all have. And it's gonna allow more native species to, better habitat for it to grow. And to kind of take over and become more of a natural area, as it was meant to be.
Yep.
So essentially, that's it. So they're gonna use, they'll use check dams and reels and things like that to make this happen. And it's in progress. So I want to give you an update. It actually hasn't started yet, okay? But the reason why I bring the update is they are getting permitting and all that now. So I don't know exactly when it's gonna happen. My hunch is it probably won't happen this winter, but I'm gonna keep you guys aware of, progress. So where we're at.
Very cool, that's a valuable partnership.
Yes, it really is.
The Illinois Nature Preserve Commission. Love it. Seeing other groups fun things like.
Yeah, that's loud. That's great.
Nice.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Reports to the board.
Scott, do you have anything?
Sir.
All right, I just have a couple of updates. Right now staff is knee deep in going through their budgets. They'll be working on that quite a bit. A lot of them will be gone next week for the IPRA conference. And we do have one, speaking of seniors, Jennifer Peterson, who is one of our recreation supervisors, is retiring. She has been in the field for 35 years. She's put in a lot of time, not only in the field, but with us. And she's one of those people that's leaving the place better than when she found it. So we're very excited for her retirement. We are sad to see her go. We've shifted some responsibilities and we've made an offer to someone to replace her earlier this week. So we're just waiting to hear an acceptance on that, but there's not going to be really any downtime. So I'm really thrilled. Tina.
Alrighty, thank you for the abatement ordinances. That's something we do annually, so appreciate that. The statement of economic interest list is gonna be out to the county at the end of the month. So they will then in turn send email to all those on the list, and they gave me 3 dates that they will send those email out, so I'll report those dates at the next meeting. And then the W-2s and 1099s have been received by our staff. We're reviewing them and we'll get those out to the staff by January 31st. And then I think the letters for childcare statements, we get those out by the end of January as well. And that's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Jenny?
Let's see, 2 big upcoming publications, our summer camp guide. Staff just reviewed the first draft, all formatted it out and everything. That started yesterday, and that'll continue through until the guide goes live February 7th. So I'm seeing lots of new camps and looks good. And then our summer print guide will go out May 6th and be delivered shortly after that. So those are our 2 biggies right now. Staff are working hard on that.
Eric?
All right, so last week, Jason and I met with Williams Architects, up at the new maintenance facility. And we kind of, brainstorm and things like that. We should have something back from them next week as far as, maybe some preliminary plans and ideas of what we can do with that building. But basically everything through the walkthrough and everything like that, the stuff that we're looking at doing and we'd like to do is definitely, definitely doable. So I think we're gonna be off to a good start, and I can't wait to continue down this road, this process, and keep you guys posted on everything, because it's pretty exciting. So, but right now, very preliminary, met with the architects. Next week, they should have some kind of ideas for us to kind of look over and things like that. So that's all I have.
Amy?
So we've got contractors working out at Mickey Sun, which is very exciting. They were off, did not work on Monday or Tuesday due to the extreme cold weather. But we're out today and they will be out tomorrow and keep plugging and chugging at it. We're waiting for the phase 2 permit to be approved. It's the city came back with comments 2 days ago, and just a few more comments are frustrating, but we're getting closer. The contractor is very anxious to get the 2 south fields demoed a little bit more, so they can continue working. You see the piles of soil, and you saw my photos too. We had our Woods Creek community input meeting last night. Eric helped, thank you so much. And I believe there were like 25 people.
That's a good turnout.
Yeah, and thank you, Mike, for coming. That was huge. I really appreciated that. We had, along with the residents and Mike there, and we had Rob Mullert from Warp, who is a big skateboard guy.
Guy from Woodstock.
He was very interesting to talk to, and I really am excited to have him share his knowledge. And then we had from the Crystal Lake Break Teen Center, we had 2 attendees, Ashley Burke and Brenda Knapfel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was very pleased to see them, and they were very excited about the opportunity of teen engagement activities, because a couple of residents have said themselves that we have a playground that works till about 10 years old, 11 years old, but really not, because, you know, even though it's a great playground, up to 5 to 12, you know, your kid's gonna grow out of it sooner than that. And he has, this one gentleman has 2 daughters, and he's like, I have nothing for them to do in this in-between age now until they, you know, and then it's all this stuff. And another parent was like, I wanted to get my kids outside, this is an opportunity. So on that point, Northwest Herald wrote a nice article, and we had, Jenny shared with me that we had an additional 51 survey respondents as of 9 a.m. this morning after that article, for a total of 304 respondents thus far on the online survey. And then we had at Lippold, a little QR code quick survey. At the Lippold Skate Park, we've had 124 respondents there. So there's, and I'm sure there's crossover, but very excited. I am looking forward to kind of pulling all that information. Jenny's gonna help pull that together for us, and we're gonna review it after the conference. So we'll have some direction of what we wanna do. Or what we're gonna recommend to the board, and have you guys give us some directions, what you recommend we do.
That's awesome.
Awesome. So.
So a lot of it was for skateboarders. Yeah.
Yeah, and we did ask if they wanted additional courts to, you know, add pickleball specific to that park, because we are leaving the tennis and adding, the idea is to add pickleball lines to the existing 2 tennis courts. And then there was question, you know, the idea of, well, maybe we should add some pickleball, but we don't want to add too many things. So it's either or there's some other people offer different locations for pickleball, and also for a skate park. My biggest concern for a skate park or recommendation is accessibility for kids to get to, and safety, you know, and, you know, routes for them to ride their bikes or skateboarding to the park, and also bathrooms. It's nice to have a bathroom.
Bathrooms for sure.
And also being open. I don't want a park that's, you know, we don't want to have it hidden away. We want it open so it's visible, safe.
Did they give a reason why they thought it would be a better place for a skate park?
Or a reason why they didn't necessarily want it at.
Or yeah, either or, what?
Well, there was one gentleman was kind of concerned that he thought it might draw the wrong kind of crowd, but then the guy the Warp owner guy was just like, no, that's not. You're attributing 2 separate things, you know.
Right.
Games, no.
And there was a little bit of safety concern with where you had it on the map where they were afraid that, you know, it was too close to the road or
Right.
something like
Yeah,
that. But
they consult. Yeah, and the consultant knows, he just threw that quickly on there as a graphic, and we talked about it with him. But I didn't want to have him spend extra time in changing the graphic. Let's just, you know, get out and share, and I could talk to that point.
well, for your reference, I don't know if you knew this, but back in the early 80s, we had an indoor privately owned skateboard park in Crystal Lake, and it was very successful for a while. And I think the owner, it was good. It was called the Olympic Skate Park.
Was
Oh,
Yes,
Really?
but they had those pump track things with the fiberglass. They had fiberglass ramps and stuff like that in there. They had a skate team there. It was the guy that owned at the one point, the Raging Buffalo snowboarding park, and I think he maybe overinvested, but it was pretty successful.
Wow.
Or at least in terms of people that would go. And so we haven't had anything like that in Crystal Lake, and then when I know that the one at Lippold got put up, I think at the time I would talk to a lot of the kids and they would be like, oh, that's not a good skateboard park.
right. It's not street ideal. It's just the down.
That's great that there's so much engagement from a wide variety of ages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we
Yeah,
had
a
a.
very thoughtful
Yeah.
conversation, I thought. Yeah,
And it looked like there was one high school there, right? And then there was a daughter who came with the gentleman, she was probably middle school.
yeah, so it's a pretty wide variety of people that were there.
Quite a few residents right in that area too.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Do you wanna do Jason's update about the ball back in?
Oh, yes, so Jason sent an email late this morning. He sent it to Sarah and myself to include in tonight's report. It said, hi Sarah, one thing I plan to mention during my report to the board is that the foundation is no longer proceeding with the ball hockey rink. The funds necessary are not being generated quickly enough to still hold the meaning and thought behind the project. This was discussed with the gentleman who brought the idea forward, and he was in agreement. All donations that were made specifically for the ball hockey rink have been returned to the donors by the foundation. If anyone asks, we were about $225,000 short of the money required.
Okay. All right, anything from the board?
On Facebook today, there was, on the Crystal Lake page, there was a comment asking, couldn't the park district hold a food truck event? I don't know if you saw that, but couldn't we hold a food truck event? It would be
Do we
fun.
do food trucks at?
But just food
concerts?
truck.
Well,
Yeah.
did you have food trucks for that flannel thing?
Yeah. Yeah, we do.
We've had events where food trucks are brought
Yeah.
in. So we've had like at Flannel Fest, we had 5 or 6 food trucks. At the Friday the 13th event that we had before that we're starting to plan again now, we had a lot of food trucks. We've now got 3 to 4 food trucks at all of the Tuesday night concerts. So do we have food trucks at events? Yes. Do we have like a specific
Then we're.
event that's just that?
Right.
There's some places that have like on Wednesday night,
Mhm.
there's a food truck that'll be at X place.
Mhm.
That's I think what.
No.
Or Woodstock.
No, they'll have like a
Somewhere,
whole
right.
corral of food trucks.
Yeah.
Almost like a food
Yeah,
truck court.
like at a site, and that's literally the event.
Yeah.
It's food truck. So that's what they were talking about on
That's what they
Facebook.
were
I know
talking
De-
about.
De- Denver has an amazing,
So
and they
it's
do it like every Thursday.
something to throw in the brainstorm bag of event ideas, you know? I know that one on the
VA, a
square,
couple of
I
them
went one year and it was,
Insane,
yeah.
like waiting
It's
an hour and a
definitely
half
well, yeah.
per
And
truck. So
then they
Yeah,
moved
it
it
was-
to the fairgrounds, I think, the year after that. That was put on by like McHenry County Living, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, after the square one, they moved it, but I don't know if they've done it in a recent summer.
There's a new developed park in in McHenry, where they have like a little concert shell down by the river. And I've been there before and they've had like 10, 12 food trucks,
Okay.
you know.
Or maybe we could even do, Tuesday. Every Tuesday night, we have a different food truck at a different park. To just kind of, brainstorm of what could be a possibility.
So speaking of food trucks, I was reading, maybe it was in the quarterly news updates, that the Mickey Sun project is gonna have a food truck concession line, like budget line.
So with the
So
Mickey,
there's some food.
so if you're not familiar with the Mickey Sunfield, there was a very old trailer that if you
Oh, very
walked,
old.
if you walked into, you would never eat a single thing.
Oh, bad.
It was not great. So right now, if you drive past Slipple, it's been pulled out and it is currently sitting in front of the golf course, and that is going to go. In order for us, and Amy, if I'm paraphrasing anything wrong, with construction, please let me know. In order to put an entire concession operation there, we had to run water, we had to run lines, and it was gonna be an astronomical fee.
Yeah, that was
So
the
what we've
4.6
come up
project.
with is we're working on contracts with specific food trucks to say, you're gonna be here all day Saturday for this tournament from 8 to noon. That's
Okay.
more breakfast based. And then from noon to 4, it's gonna be another one, and 4 to 8.
Okay.
So that's in the works, but it's nothing, I don't wanna say, oh, yes, we've got that.
And
That's-
that's, they would have like
yeah.
utilities where they could plug into or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
And these food trucks, they're, I mean, some of them are way out there and some of them are, you see them around town at all the different events. And some of them, if they know that Sarah's food truck is coming, well, I'm not coming. And then we've had it where they get in arguments with each other because Jason's food truck charges X and Scott's charges Y, and I don't like that. So it's always interesting when they come around. But they're a huge draw. They definitely add a component of enjoyment for the events.
I had one more thing to say, and that's, I got to go on a tour of the maintenance facility. I brought Debbie Gallagher with me. Because Debbie was a driving force behind always speaking out about the need for supporting staff's need for a maintenance facility. And it is so amazing what we bought for the price we did, and I cannot wait to see where it's going to go, and I'm just thrilled that we have purchased it.
Good.
It's awesome. Karen and I were out at Veterans Acres all day Saturday for one of the trail running events out there.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
Yeah, it,
It was really good. It was beautiful weather.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
like some,
Got a little.
It snowed like the day before.
it did, it snowed the day before, but
Oh,
the ground stayed frozen.
Yeah.
It's nice, and I mean, that park just shines, you know? And there's people from all over the Midwest there,
yeah, it looked like quite a few people parked
yes.
in the main lot and over by.
All over,
the new
like
pavilion.
nature center, the park off of Lorraine, like, or
They
the
had
lot off
they had
of
like
Lorraine.
vendors,
there's-
like shoe vendors and different things like
Yeah.
that.
So it just kudos to everybody involved with the maintenance of that park, from natural resources to trails to everything. It's awesome.
Preston has been a huge, huge asset, especially when working with Michelle Hartley to be like, hey, you cannot run in this area. You have to
Yes.
stay on this path. And he's pretty much said, this is where you can run. And it's been awesome for both parties.
Good. I really appreciate those signs that are put up in certain areas of the trails that are like, respect park ecology, this is not a trip. You know, like that's
Yeah.
needed, and I'm glad to see that there, so. Yeah, anything else from the board? Okay, I move to adjourn the meeting. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Happy New Year, everybody, like.